And welcome back to the Stoners Roundtable podcast. As always, I'm your host, James Everson. And let me just say, I'm a little tired today. I'm worn out, exhausted. I've been up all night trying to help a viewer who emailed me about a bug he's been experiencing in the Dawnguard DLC, where Serana doesn't show up in Fort Dawnguard during your second meeting, and Isran will not engage his line of dialogue that he's supposed to. So the emailer's name, excuse me, like I said, I'm tired, but I'm gonna do this anyway. The emailer's name is Jerry, and he says, I've been having this issue for a while. Part of the Dawnguard DLC, where you do the Awakening quest line, after you've taken Serana to Castle Volkihar, you go back to Fort Dawnguard and report to Isran. At that point, he sends you on a mission to find two of his associates. Once I return, he does his little test to see who's a vampire. And immediately I'm detected as a vampire. I don't even know I got contracted vampirism. But he sends me on my way to get cured. And when I come back, I go upstairs to meet with him, and the white arrow above his head is gone. And instead of leading me to Serana, he starts walking around, stops, turns to me, and starts imparting me words of wisdom on vampire hunting. Then he'll either do one of two things. He'll either walk around looking stupid, or he'll walk over to one of the beds and he'll lay down and go to sleep. When I go around the corner to the torture chamber where Serana's supposed to be, she is not there. I was wondering, is there any solutions to this bug or any workarounds, and can you help? Oy. Well, Jerry, after an all-nighter trying to do this, because yes, I've experienced the same bug myself, and there is a theory. Like I said, a theory. I'm not for sure what causes the bug. I'm not for sure what triggers it, but here's what I think could happen. You contracted vampirism, probably in Dim Hollow Crypt, while you were fighting the vampires on your way to rescue Serana from her tomb. You just didn't realize it. It happens. We don't always see that little sentence that pops up in the left-hand corner of the screen that says you've contracted vampirism. We're just trying to get out of the dungeon and not get killed. I get it. But, when Isran finds out you're a vampire and sends you to get cured, somewhere in between that event and you getting cured, somewhere in between there's a sequence of events that leads up to the bug being triggered. I don't know what it is, but I do believe that it's the ritual itself that causes the bug, or that triggers the bug. Actually, there may be two solutions. I'm not for sure. Two solutions that could cause it. I'm going to go through both of them. One is, like I said, the ritual itself, because when Fallon is curing you of vampirism, there is a cutscene where the scene slowly fades to black and then slowly fades back in. And that's supposed to be a process of you being cured. Now, during that sequence of events, what I believe is that somehow when the screen starts to fade to black, it triggers the bug. So my best solution for you on that one is don't contract vampirism. and try to do it that way. But there's also a downside, because there is also another bug that happens when you're going to retrieve Isran's associate, Gunmar, the guy that trains the armored trolls. What happens is, Gunmar will ask you to help him track down and kill a bear that he's been hunting for 2 weeks. So what I've learned is that I'll help him kill the bear, and then excuse me, the cut screen, or the cut scene where he's supposed to thank you for helping him kill the bear and ask him what Isran was wanting, doesn't happen. He will sit there and continuously say, you know, thank you for killing the bear, this, that, and the other. I should go meet with Isran, but it won't cut into where you can interact with it. He'll just walk around and keep saying this, and we'll never leave the cave. So I thought I was going to have to go and get the ring and scroll of quest fixing for that part. As you found out, it probably didn't work. Well, it works. It gets him to initiate the cutscene that he's supposed to do, but when you go back and Isran does his sun test, and you pass the test, you'll go up and talk with Isran to meet with Serana, and the bug kicks in. So that's another possible way of it kicking in, is when Gunmar starts glitching and won't leave the cave. But I did find out that when you leave the cave and then you go back into the cave, it will trigger the sequence. So that could be another possible way the bug gets triggered. But as I said, after many hours trial and error, and I didn't do a gameplay or record any gameplay, because I wasn't going to sit here and do a voiceover and stitch and splice and combine a bunch of blooper videos together. I thought my best solution was just try to walk you through it as best as possible. You know, and unfortunately, the save file I had to go back here and do this and show you the right way got overwritten, so I just have to take you step by step as best I can. Alright. So your email says you do have a save file at Dim Hollow Crypt after you have awakened and rescued Serana. Alright. Now, sorry guys, I apologize. I'm trying to stay awake as best as possible. Now, what you do, and let me explain to you how I come up with this. I was watching YouTube probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was watching one of the short clips, and one of them was, what would happen if you did certain things in Skyrim? And one of those things was, what would happen if you took Serana to Fort Dawnguard instead of taking her home to Castle Volkihar? Ding, 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 ding. Green flag went up in my head. So I watched the video, and it showed how it triggers a whole different set of dialogue. So I tried it. So what you want to do is go from Dim Hollow Crypt straight to Fort Dawnguard. Now when you get here, before you can even get to the door, Serana will trigger a dialogue she's never said before, and I've never heard her say before. She will sit there and say that she has an uneasy feeling about this place and that she's going to wait at the entrance to Dayspring Pass. And then she will proceed to walk off. So, just let her walk off. Alright, let her walk off. You'll walk up to here, and what happened with mine was, I got here, and Isran and 2 other Dawnguard members were already standing here outside. So you walk up, and it'll trigger his normal catchphrase, where he says, you know, he knew this would happen, it was only a matter of time before the vampires found out, and then he'll ask you, did the Vigilant of Stendar's information pan out to be true? And it'll bring up 2 sets of dialogue for you. You want to choose the second one, because it'll pretty much say, yeah, it was true, but when you got there, the Vigilant Stendar had been killed by vampires. Which Isran will call the Stendars a fool, this, that, and the other, and he'll ask you what you found in Dim Hollow Crypt. And you'll want to choose the one where you say that you found a woman, which will cause him to say, that doesn't make any sense, why would a woman be there? And you want to go through it kind of like normal, until it brings up a set of dialogue for you, and let me see what, and try to remember what it says. I believe it's the second or third dialogue, can't remember what it says, but it'll trigger Isran to say, you know, under normal circumstances I would just kill the thing and be done with it, but these are not normal circumstances and we need as much information as we can get, so, you know, take the vampire on home and try to dig up as much dirt on what the vampires are doing as you can. So that'll trigger that new set of dialogue. And what I'm thinking is that when you do this, this bypasses the bug. The 2 causes that causes the bug where Serana doesn't show up. So you'll take her home, and then you'll return, and then Isran, you'll tell Isran what happened, tell him about the Elder Scroll, this, that, the other, how you just barely got out alive, and then he'll send you on the quest to, you know, to recruit his 2 companions. You'll do that, you'll come back, whatever you do, do not contract vampirism, but you'll come back to Fort Dawnguard, he'll do his vampire test, let him do it, make sure you pass it, and then he'll tell you, hey, you know what, me and you need to have a chat, I need to know why a vampire just show up on our doorstep, and then it'll tell you to follow Isran, you'll walk up to the balcony, the arrow will still be above his head, mind you, this is tested 20 out of 20 times, the arrow will still be there, he'll walk to the little torture chamber around the corner, you follow him, and there, lo and behold, will be Serana. You'll go through normal dialogue, it'll end the awakening quest. Well, awakening quest will already be done with when you once you get here and talk to Isran the first time, it'll end the awakening quest, start the bloodline quest, you take her home, do that ends the bloodline quest, then you get the 2 members, sorry guys. Then you come here, Serana will be there, this method works, I've tried it 20 out of 20 times. Yes, Marty, I finally found the solution. Sorry you couldn't be here to see it, but I finally found it. So, once you go through all that, you know, you can recruit her as a follower, and it'll go and start the Prophet quest line. So, let me try to give you a short version. Once you've saved Serana, go directly from Dim Hollow Crypt to Fort Dawnguard. Let Serana walk away to Dayspring Pass. Go up, talk to Isran, do the dialogue I told you about with. You know, make sure you choose the ones I told you to choose and everything. Wait for him to say the dialogue where he tells you to play along with Serana and take her home. That will end the Awakening quest line. That'll start the Bloodlines quest line, where you take her home and whatnot. You take her home, whether you choose to, and I'm going to tell you, refuse Harkon's gift. Like I said, you don't want to be a vampire, because that could trigger the bug. Quite possibly could trigger the bug. And the whole ritual thing could trigger the bug as well, so avoid vampirism altogether. Come back to Fort Dawnguard after you've dropped Serana off home. Go and do the quest line where Isran sends you to get his 2 associates. Recruit those 2. Come back to Fort Dawnguard. Let Isran do his little vampire test, and then follow him up to the balcony, and the bug should be cured on your end. Now, Jerry, you didn't say what system you were on, whether it was PS4 or PS5, but the little solution does work on my PS5 version. So, I hope that helps you out some. And this isn't just for one person. I'm doing this video for anybody else who's had this problem. It's the best solution I can find. So, as long as you don't contract vampirism and have to do the ritual, and you trigger the whole other sequence of dialogue, you should be good, and you should acquire Serana as a follower, as I have done here. So, here you go, Marty. So, just a second, guys. Apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot today is Wednesday, and shows you how tired I am. But usually on Wednesdays I babysit my 3-year-old nephew, and that what you heard was the sound of my bedroom door opening. If he was wondering where I was at. So I had to get him situated and everything for the day. Luckily for me, I positioned my PlayStation and my TV right next to my bedroom door in a way to where I can open my door and I can watch my TV and still be able to see out my bedroom door and watch my nephew. Well, at the moment he's playing with his little cop car and watching his favorite show, and I don't know why he likes the show Blue Bloods. Only way I can get him to behave is with pop Blue Bloods on and let him have at it. I think my nephew's gonna be a cop when he grows up. Wouldn't be the first. Well, he would be the first police officer, but not the first of the force. I had a grandfather, a great-grandfather, and a great-uncle that all served in the military, so, yeah. The armed services. Law enforcement, yeah. He'll follow in a proud line. But anyway, to get back to what I was trying to tell you guys earlier, especially you, Jerry. That's the best workaround I can find for that bug, is instead of taking her to Castle Volkihar, bring her here to Fort Dawnguard, have her initiate the new line of dialogue, go through all the sequence of events I told you about, and most importantly, avoid contracting vampirism as much as possible. Now, the only solution I haven't tried is contracting vampirism and then getting it cured before Isran tells you to get it cured. I haven't tried that way. You could try that way, Jerry, but I think the best way is the little method I found. And this bypasses both of those bugs that cause Serana and Isran to seriously malfunction. But as you can see, I have Serana now as a follower. In order to do this, I'm now doing something I normally wouldn't do. Normally, I would only do one DLC at a time, but right at the moment, in order to help you, Jerry, I have to bounce between the main storyline and the Dawnguard DLC just to be able to get this little method to work. So I'm doing 2 DLCs at once here, which I've seen other players on YouTube do it on their channels, but I've never tried it. I've always gone 1 DLC at a time, but I'm gonna try it this way for once. So I'm already to the point in the Dawnguard questline called the Prophet, where you have to track down the Moth Priest and get the Elder Scroll. All I need to do now is jump back into the main quest line and get up to the College of Winterhold. That way, both...
I'm glad we're finally taking the fight to those monsters.
Yeah, well, I'm a vampire right now myself, you know. Yes, I contracted the vampirism. I contracted the vampirism after I did all of this, so... After you do it, Jerry, you're good if you want to play a vampire character. But like I said, I would avoid it. Just so it wouldn't trigger the bug. And that's the only ways I can think of them to be triggered. I don't know any other possible ways, but... you follow the step-by-step instructions I just gave you, you should be able to acquire Serana as your follower. And yes, to both you and Marty, because the other part of the email that Jerry asked was... pull it up here right quick. Also, I'd like to agree with Marty. Why do most of the YouTubers use Lydia as a follower in their videos? Why don't some use Serana? Like I said, a lot of people like Lydia. But I guess I will change things up here, and I will do things a little differently that other YouTubers do, and I will use Serana as my follower in my videos. So, there you go, Jerry. There you go, Marty. Something different for you guys. And as you can see, Jerry and everybody else, the method works. I have her as a follower. Just follow the steps, like I said, and everything should work. The big issue, like I said, to avoid is contracting vampirism. You know, I honestly believe it has something to do with the whole ritual process. Somehow, when that screen fades to black when Fallon is curing you, it somehow triggers the bug. And, you know, the other way with Gunmar could be when you enter the cave. The little cut screen when you enter the cave could trigger the bug. I don't know. Those 2 possible theories, but like I said, instead of taking her home right off the bat once you rescue her, bring her here and go through the other little steps and alternate dialogue I mentioned. Avoid becoming a vampire, and you should acquire her, Serana, as your new follower. And I hope that helps you out, Jerry, and I hope that helps anybody else out that's had the same problem. So, I apologize for the rambling. Like I said, I've been up all night to do this. I really haven't slept all that much. It's a good thing my daughter is here to help me babysit my nephew. So, I'm probably gonna fall asleep after I finish editing and uploading this video, so. Like I said, Jerry, that's the best possible solution, and I hope it helps. Let me know how it goes. Anybody else who's had the same problem, if this solution helps, let me know in the comments, or my email is posted in several of my videos, so let me know what you think, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Stoners Roundtable podcast. Peace, guys.